everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm glad you're here. Today I'm going to show you how to make a shaker card using the Let It Snow stamp set along with the small circle shaker die and papers from the Four Seasons collection and the mix-ins. Okay, so I have the also have the shaker acetate and foam. And then these are the two pattern papers. I use some shimmer trim as well. Okay, so I have the stamp set here. I'm actually going to make a shaker with it this time. So I have this little scene stamp. It has a little A-frame house and some trees around it. And I'm going to stamp that out in pine ink because it's mostly trees. So I want that nice green color. And then I'm going to speed this up, but I'll leave all the coloring in. I'm going to bring in my tri-blends and quickly add some color to this scene. Not a lot of blending and shading involved because this is going to be inside my shaker, okay? But I do want some color to be down on it, so just going to color in the little A-frame house and lay some color down on the trees really quick. Super cute stamp. And it fits perfectly inside that shaker. All right, good to go with that. And I'm going to take this circle die that's part of the small circle shaker set. And I'm going to run that through and cut it out. Okay, then I'm going to take the overlay die and run that through with pine cardstock. So I have my little circle overlay for my shaker. Okay. Now I'm going to cut out some cardstock and pattern paper for my card base. So this is a piece of pine. I'm cutting that at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to use the zip strip from this Four Seasons paper. And I'm going to cut the plaid at 4 by 5 1/4. Then I'll bring in a piece of scarlet. And I started out cutting this at 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. But it covered up too much of the plaid, so I went ahead and trimmed off another 1/8 of an inch off both sides. So we'll get in there and trim off another 1/8 of an inch. So I'll have a skinnier border. Then I'm going to bring in this piece of mix in, and I'm going to do stamping on it. So I wanted something that had a little something on there, but not a pattern to interfere with the stamping images. Okay, so that's just a little smaller than the scarlet, and then I'll cut my zip strip. Okay, now I'm deciding if I want to use pine or red shimmer trim. So I'm going to go with red, but I want a skinnier piece. So this is kind of a trick for being able to cut that shimmer trim in half. Just leave the backing on it and then use some of your tape runner and kind of tape it down to your trimmer and then cut it in half and you're good to go. And that piece will be peeled off when you're ready to apply it. Okay. All right. So now I need to do some stamping on this this mix-in paper. So I need the base to my snow globe. So I'm going to bring in this stamp. And I'm going to stamp it out in pine ink. And it has a little opening for a sentiment. And the sentiments in the stamp set are exactly the right size to stamp inside that opening. So I'm going to use the stamp that says Let It Snow in there. So we'll get the base down first. So I'm just keeping everything laid down on my card front here so I know where to stamp. And then we'll stamp that sentiment down. I'm just going to lay everything out, make sure I like how everything's positioned. That looks good. Okay, so we'll get that Let It Snow stamp down, and I'll stamp that out in scarlet. And if you're wondering why you see me rubbing the stamp on my arm, it's because I haven't used these particular stamps yet. I've used most of the set, but these little ones that are in the set I haven't used yet. So they, when they are produced, there's a coating on the stamps. And so by rubbing it on your arm, you'll remove that coating and then they're ready to start taking ink. It's a one-time only deal unless you have problems with your ink not picking up on your stamp properly, or if it's starting to bead, you can always reseason it. Okay, now I'm taking some of these other little stamps. There's some little stars and there's some, I don't know, it looks like bubbles and little snowflakes. And I'm doing first and second generation stamping with all of those little images and scattering them around on this background in glacier ink. So this is the second gen stamping. So just stamp it off on a piece of scratch paper first and then stamp it down. And it's very, very faint, but that's the effect that I was looking for. Okay, so I decided that I wanted to also use pine shimmer trim. So I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the red. I'm going to put it in my trimmer and trim it in half so that I have a skinny strip of red and a skinny strip of green underneath that zip strip. Okay, now we're ready to start building the card. So I'm going to put that pine cardstock down first. I'm just using Tombow tape runner to assemble everything. Then I'll put that plaid piece down. And then the scarlet. And then my mix-in paper that I stamped on. Then I'm going to lay this circle down and just kind of figure out the positioning of where I want to add my zip strip and shimmer trim. Kind of not centered, kind of above center. And I need to cut off that 1/8 of an inch that I had cut off before so it's all even. Just go in there with my scissors and snip it off. Then I'll add my shimmer trim. And again, I have to trim off that tiny little bit. Make it even. I'll add the pine. So these are self-adhesive. And you just remove the backing and then they're sticky and you can lay them down. Okay, now we're ready. First, I have to get it straight. Now we're ready to make our shaker. Okay, so I have the shaker foam and acetate. And usually you have to get that bit started on the clear acetate first, but that one's already done for me. So I'm just peeling off this circle from the backing. So it still has the cover on the top of it. And I'm just going to place it down. And I'm going to use some of these snowflake confetti bits. And this was from last year and they're retired, but I love them. And so they're perfect for this shaker. They're iridescent. And so you can see that image behind all those shaker bits. So I'm going to use that. So then you just peel off that protective coating on the top of that circle and then lay your acetate down on top of it. And then you peel off the coating from the acetate. And then I'm just going to use Tombow tape runner and cover up this overlay and then attach it to the acetate. Got a little crazy with that, so I need to remove some of the sticky from the front with my rub and remove eraser. And then I'm just going to attach the whole thing with a whole bunch of tape runner. Super cute. So all of these supplies are currently available in my online store. I'll make a list with links in the description below, with the exception of the snowflake confetti. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And then you'll be able to find all of my videos. And thanks for watching.